have zero tolerance for that.
I think it takes a lot to get you mad.
I don't normally do that.
Yeah.
You messed up when Father Simon turns and looks.
I myself was getting distracted.
What are St. Paul's letters about? You stupid Galatians.
Foolish, I think is the word.
No, it's stupid.
It is?
Yeah. I mean, whatever. It depends on the translation.
So the topic today is going to be about mortal sins versus venial sins.
Good. Okay.
Why do you mock me?
So what constitutes a mortal sin?
Guys.
Oh,
We've done
Grave
that quite
matter.
a few times on the show.
Link below.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna
we
make
could link
these
our
guys-
mortal sin episode down here.
Yeah, 7 links in a
In
row.
case you missed
about yeah.
it's exaggerated.
What about marriage and dating and
Okay,
stuff?
let's talk about that then. So
These are like inside jokes we already have. We're like being meta.
what's meta?
Meta? Is that like
Like
a
talking about ourselves.
millennial term
Yeah.
or?
It's an ancient Greek word.
Yeah,
No,
like
I
the-
know,
like the
but
myth,
I
like
know,
the-
but look, they use the word sigma now.
That's
Have you guys
true.
heard them use that?
What's
what
the difference
is-
between
who's
sigma and
they?
alpha?
What does sigma mean again? Is it a letter?
It's a letter
It's a letter.
It's a letter.
of the Greek alphabet.
What do they use it for?
I don't know, but I know alpha is like a Gora man, like a manly man. I think.
So like
I
top
think.
tier, I think.
Okay.
And apparently sigma is even above that. I don't know.
I don't
think
know.
we should have
below with
looked this
100.
up
Yeah.
before
I know.
mentioning that. What
Yeah.
if it's a derogatory term?
No.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
But I was on a TikTok live with my nephew was with me the other day, and someone was commenting, "Say sigma," of
Just for the
me to
bit.
say that, and like I didn't know if it was a bad
Yeah.
thing, like so I didn't say it, but my nephew saw it, and he's like, "What is sigma?"
Sigmund Freud?
I'm so sorry about TikTok, man.
No, it's okay.
I'm
man.
sorry,
Sorry.
Guys, please.
Let's pray Chabad Medusa.
It's still uncertain, right? What's going to happen?
It's still uncertain. You can't download it on the App Store.
How are you coping?
No, listen.
Did you ever
I'm
delete
a
it?
priest. No, if you delete it, you can't get it back.
So did you delete it?
No.
So you can sell your phone for a lot of money now. That's what,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what
they've
they're
been
saying.
doing that.
Yeah.
No, man.
Yeah, I heard like GameStop or something was selling iPhones for $10,000 up to that much.
Comment
Just
below if
because
you'd
they
like
have
to
TikTok?
buy Father Simon's phone
Which has
and how
TikTok
much
on
and
it.
how much you
Yeah.
would pay for it.
Start the bidding. Yeah.
Start the
What
bidding.
happened
New
after?
form of fundraising.
It was only gone for like half a day.
12 hours.
Did you guys like hear from people that they were sad and distressed?
No, I was just
I'm not
thinking
on
about
TikTok.
you.
I saw on Instagram that TikTok people were posting on Instagram that they're sad.
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Who owns Instagram now? Is it Facebook?
Meta.
Meta. Oh yeah, Meta.
Meta.
There you go. See? Full circle.
Meta World.
Remember
Peace.
Thanks, everybody.
Ron Artest.
Meta
There's
World.
a
Meta
basketball
World Peace.
player. He changed his name to Meta World Peace.
Did Jeff, what's his name? Pay him for that? What's his name?
I don't know. Oh no, that was
Mark Zuckerberg.
before.
That was
way
way
before.
Way
Yeah.
before.
Chad Johnson changed his name too.
Chad
Ochocinco.
Ochocinco.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today? Let's have an actual topic this week.
Yeah, what
So
would you
today we're talking about homilies.
Okay.
Okay, so about what your experience is with your own preaching and with how we can encourage other people to get the most out of the homilies that they listen to. So first of all, like how important is a homily when it comes to mass? Like where does it rank in the things that are most important as part of the mass?
It's more important than the petitions. I'll give it that.
Part
Which are
of
totally
the-
optional.
Yeah, liturgy of the word, delivering.
There's something, but does a bad homily or a non-existent homily affect the validity of the mass at all? No, absolutely not.
or a homily in a language you don't understand.
Or in something you don't understand. Yeah,
I know a lot of people look forward to the homily more than
Yeah.
anything.
sure. I think that's okay.
Yeah.
It's the sort of most varying part. It might be the most interesting part to some people. That's okay. And so the homily addresses the mind, forming the mind, learning about the faith, giving you like encouragement to live a Christian life, things like that. All that's amazing. All that's beautiful, and the gospel really couldn't exist without that. But it's not the sacrament of the Eucharist and the witnessing of the sacrifice of Christ. That's what heaven is. You
Yeah.
know.
So yeah, the Eucharistic section of the Mass is reaching the pinnacle of the Mass, right? Having said that, that tells you something about where the homily is going to fall in the Mass, and it's going to tell you something about the role of the homily during the Mass. In addition to it being a liturgical act, part of the liturgy, it's preparing for that pinnacle, for us to reach that next part of the Mass, to realize and appreciate not just what we're about to experience, but who we're about to encounter and receive. that tells you how you should start preparing for your homily. That tells you what you should expect to hear in a homily. So I think that's something to start with.
And even for a priest, if he doesn't understand that, then the homily becomes about him and what he knows and what he wants to say. Eisegesis instead of exegesis, because it is tempting, I'm not going to lie, to know about a current topic that's happening within the community and wanting to talk about that even before you read the gospel for that week.
Yep.
Can you say what those words mean? Eisegesis, exegesis? I think it's good for people to...
Yeah, it's basically when you're reading scripture, you take out, exegesis is taking out the meaning that's, being given to you through the scriptures versus inserting your own interpretation within the scriptures.
Yeah. I've even have priests ask me like, how can I connect this thing that I want to talk about with the gospel this Sunday? Like, you preach on the gospel.
Yeah.
You're not preaching on yourself and like making yourself feel better. And so now, exactly based on what Father Chris is saying, now the homily, which is supposed to direct you towards Christ and the Eucharist, is about you. And like I know the temptation that priests have of they're reading the gospel and they want something, but in their mind they interpret it as God put it in my heart to talk about this. You really got to discern that carefully. Just because you want something doesn't mean God put it in your heart.
When I first heard that from someone, I started to think to myself and reflect and say, okay, what does that mean? How does that happen? I get your conscience moving you towards certain things. I understand the functionality of that. But when it comes to God put this in my heart, okay, am I the weirdo?
But again, but the word that St. Paul uses and that the church uses to figure out whether something is really from God or it's just your own like passions talking to you, the word is discern. St. Paul used the word discern, which is an intellectual activity. It's not just let me feel even more and then like based on my other feelings, I'll decide on whether this first feeling is from God. Emotions are amazing. They're a big part of humanity, but they don't direct us. It's the intellect that directs us. And that's where we ask for God's wisdom and his grace for our minds to discern what's there in our heart. And then, okay, no, God really did put this in my heart. This thing that I want to talk about is not just I'm mad about something and I want to talk about it. It's really I love my people and I see this thing that's happening to them and the gospel truly does point me in that direction. Awesome. Then that's the beginnings of a really good homily.
That's one of the reasons why I appreciate what Pope Francis said. I think it was a few weeks ago during a general audience. He was basically addressing priests, saying your homilies should not be more than, I don't know what he said, 8 to 10 minutes, something like that. That sort of dispels the temptation to do that too, really, because I've sat in masses where the homily, without exaggeration, was over 30 minutes, half an hour. And
if you're preaching 30 to 40 minutes,
in a 1 hour mass.
In a 1 hour
it's no longer 1 hour mass.
Or a daily mass.
Yeah.
That's...
I've seen that on YouTube, actually.
Yeah. Like a brother priests, like, I know, thank you for your sacrifice and your yes to God, but if you're preaching for 30 to 40 minutes, that's not a good homily.
Get over yourself, buddy.
Or, I mean...
I'm sorry.
And again, that's what gives us a distinction between a homily and a Bible study. You're not...
Bible study, that's a different thing.
Even the Sermon on the Mount was probably broken up into certain
the Sermon on the Mount is like 7 minutes long, 8 minutes long, 10 minutes maybe if you read it slow.
If you read the whole thing.
You know more than Jesus does? You're 3 times smarter than Jesus?
He's taking off.
Get out of here.
Let's go.
Am I mad now? I'm really
let's
upset.
go.
See, I'm preaching based on my anger. It's not right. I will say this though. I think the guiding principle of all of our speech, Jesus says like you'll be judged for every idle word you utter. Every idle word. Idle, not wrong or sinful or whatever. Every word that you say that doesn't have a purpose in the context of the relationship that you're expressing in that conversation, including a homily, you'll be judged for it. And he says, by your words will you be condemned. Again, it's not your bad words or your cuss words or your swearing or your gossip or your attacking. Your extra words, your wasted words. And to me, that means the thing that should guide everything I say is love for God and love for the other person, which implies respect for their time. And if you can say the same thing in 5 minutes and instead you take 15 minutes because you think you're, I don't know what.
You like the way you sound.
You like the sound of your own voice. You think you're like a great orator. and you think people enjoy your voice as much as you do, you're delusional, man. Nobody wants to listen to that. Get to the point. Say what you have to say. Again, Jesus was very concise in his homilies. So just ask yourself, do I really think I'm that much smarter than Jesus is?
Yeah.
If you do, that's fine.
Part of this is also maybe the matter of understanding, oh, it's actually a skill to get to a position where I can deliver this important message that I've been meditating on and praying about within a certain matter of time, to respect everyone's time.
Yeah.
And then having realized that, maybe I have to admit, I don't have that skill. I need to work on that skill.
Yeah. It takes more time and effort to get a homily short than to just do a long one and just blab.
Yeah. Similarly to writing papers, like in school, when you're in seminary or for whatever other topic it is. There's a lot I could know, and I'll never forget one thing that my molecular biology professor did when I was an undergrad. There was some kind of lab experiment we were doing, very complex, had a lot of aspects to it, and both in its preparation and its execution. And before we would do experiments in the lab, we would first have a lecture about the principle behind the experiment, so everyone could understand the basis of it before they actually start experimenting with the stuff. So one day he brought his 10-year-old son and his 8-year-old daughter to the lecture hall. This is a university lecture hall for a molecular biology lab class. And he said, okay, now that we've gone over everything, the materials you need, the way the experiment is going to get carried out, the results you should expect, explain everything to my son and my daughter.
Yeah, exactly.
If you know it, then you'll be able to explain. If you truly know it, you're nuanced with it, and you know how to not just know something, but to communicate it, to have that skill, go ahead. And everyone who's here today will get extra credit if you guys pull it off.
Yeah, people normally think that the more you say means the more you know.
And the fancier words you use.
Yeah. But
the more sophisticated words you use.
If you want to explain something in a more simple way, then you have to know it even more. Yep. And that's the tough thing about a homily, is that you're not doing a college Bible study for people that want to come and sit and listen to a 1-hour lecture on this book of the Bible. You're doing a message for old people, young people, little kids, everybody that's there, moms, dads, and you have such a short amount of time, and so you have to get the message of the gospel to them, to all of them.
To them.
And you and you could see how important this is for the church too in regards to the law, because the code of canon law regulates, not in a very, extreme way, but it regulates homilies on who could give the homily, and when it should be given and things like that,
So can anybody just give a homily, like if the priest wants to ask a shemasha or something?
Ordained minister, not a lay person.
Yep.
So it could be a deacon. I remember my first homily was as a deacon, all of us, right? And so that was pretty nerve-wracking, man.
Oh, yeah. Because it's different. For all the reasons you're saying, it's different than I'm going to talk to this youth group.
Yeah.
It's a very different dynamic. Youth group, you can kind of it's more casual, and it's also a more focused audience. It's people just of a certain age. Homily, you're right. They're from whatever, 3-4-year-old kids that can start understanding you to 80, 90-year-old people. And you all of them are your audience, all of them, not just the people that you like or the people that you know or the people that have this issue or not. And oh my gosh, that's hard. It's a lot harder to speak to.
Especially when you hear babies crying, phones going off, people sneezing.
I'm better at that. I used to really get in under my skin, and now it's okay, whatever. There's
last Sunday, I had a couple of the shemash. They were talking during my homily, okay? And I thought they were in the sacristy, and I could hear a little bit, and I just kept on preaching, and I was waiting for it to stop, and then it got louder, and it seemed like they were right there.
Oh my gosh.
And so I just turned and looked, paused, and just turned. I was in the middle of a point.
Yeah.
And I just paused and just looked for 5 seconds till he realized, there's a pause now.
Yeah.
And so something is happening, and so he turned and like a couple of them turned and looked at me, and then they stopped talking.
I have zero tolerance for that.
I think it takes a lot to get you mad.
I don't normally do that.
Yeah.
You messed up when Father Simon turns and looks.
I myself was getting distracted. That's the thing. So I was like, what are the people feeling right now?
Yeah.
And some things you can't control. Babies crying and stuff like that. That happens. I remember one time. I don't know if you guys remember this. Bishop Sedhead was preaching, and a bird flew in.
I remember.
That happened
and
a
it
few times.
came on the podium, and he like said something cute,
That's
and the
amazing.
people
I
laughed.
don't remember that.
Yeah,
One time,
Holy Spirit or something.
yeah, something like
one
that.
time
I don't
during 4 p.m. mass, I don't know if you remember this, but a dog ran in.
know. yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and a very brave parishioner took the dog and
Shout out Sama
Yeah.
Datisha.
Someone.
It
I
was
will
one of
never-
them. Yeah,
Oh,
one of
really?
them was a German Shepherd, actually.
I will never
That's-
get over my jealousy of, I think it was you reading the gospel, chanting the gospel on Good Friday.
Oh my god!
And you got to a very dramatic point in the gospel, and then
It was when the
an
earth
earthquake.
quaked.
An earthquake.
Oh
and
my
that-
god!
I will never, like, I was
I just
so,
got goosebumps again.
Yeah.
I
was an
read it.
amazing moment.
I read that verse, and the earth quaked. You
The
know,
whole earth trembled
Oh
and
my
shook.
And then the
God.
earthquake hit.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was amazing.
and you
That's
see
crazy.
it on the recording in the
Yeah.
camera. You see the camera moving left and right.
For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I am raised up, I will go before you in Galilee. Peter declared to him, though they all fall away because of you, I will never fall away. Jesus said to him, truly I say to you, this very night before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times.
Link in description.
Yeah.
We're going to give them a lot of homework
Yeah,
this week.
if you give them that, they can.
What year
put it
was
up.
it?
I don't know.
It was only 2-3 years ago.
Andrew,
Wasn't
2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
English homily, just to narrow it down.
It was.
Was it the whole
No, it was the
prayer
gospel.
service?
It was the gospel that when we have all the lights
Yeah,
turned
yeah.
off.
Yeah, from the
Thursday.
gospel.
So that-
It was
Thursday
right before
prayer
that.
service.
Was
Right
that
before
being recorded though? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That was great.
So
Dang.
one hit and then a big one hit right after.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was going to say something else about the homilies thing.
Say it, please.
Oh, respecting people's time. I'm trying to remember what it was.
One thing that I was going to say based on what Pope Francis said, because he said that people have a short attention span, especially nowadays with social media and like 30-second or less
TikTok.
videos, TikTok videos, and so you have to get the message across in a short amount of time because Pope Francis says that people are just going to stop listening at some point.
So here's a question that I have. And I think I have an answer to this, but I want to see what you guys think. So the question is, okay, well, supposedly the attention span of people is getting worse. That's probably right. Probably has a lot to do with social media. I don't know if it's as extreme as some people describe it as. I think people always had a short attention span. And I think they just zoned out, but they didn't admit it. Anyway, whether or not that's true, some people might say, well, all the more reason they should get used to longer homilies. And this is a time for them to grow in this kind of ability to concentrate for more than a couple minutes. What do you guys think of that?
I don't think I'm willing to agree with that.
I
Yeah.
get the whole position of allowing people to push themselves
Mhm.
and stretch. I get that, but that's a whole different extreme, really. And that will start diving into, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys have been approached with this by saying, Abuna, you got to preach about this. Please make sure you talk about this. There's,
I love that.
this thing going on, this, that. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to preach on the gospel, whatever the gospel is. I'm going to pray about it and preach about it. It's not about what's convenient to you or
What's bothering you today?
what's bothering you today.
It's like I got in an argument with my brother, and they're like, you need to preach about brothers listening to their older brother.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like being brave,
Yeah,
like,
stop being sheep kind of thing.
well, yeah, I mean, like people will say maybe that we're not brave if we don't talk about certain topics.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. So if you don't not just agree with me, but if you don't say the stuff that I want you to say, it's because you're a coward. It's because it's impossible that somebody could disagree with me and I would actually be wrong about something, or that this is not that the proclamation of the gospel on the podium in the middle of a church maybe isn't the right place for the
Yeah.
thing that you want me to
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about. No, it's because you're a coward, period.
Yeah.
Or because maybe those people have spent more time than you meditating on the priesthood and preparing themselves in seminary to know what a priest is and how he should be preaching. Maybe. I don't know
That
if you've ever
makes-
considered that.
By the way, I'm actually open to feedback from people. I really like when
Definitely.
people talk to
Yeah,
me. But
definitely.
like sometimes they're wrong and sometimes they're right.
Yeah.
But the thing that I would say about the attention span thing is basically like we were saying, like that's maybe not the place for it. Should people have a longer attention span? Sure, that's a great virtue.
Yeah.
Is mass the place to
Yeah.
do that?
That's what I was going to say.
Or can they do something else?
Or
you know,
yeah, maybe their parents could not let them be on their iPads,
Exactly.
iPads all day, right?
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if using a homily as a tool for psychological development
Exactly.
is what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. And in the meantime, So I'm going to preach a 15-minute homily to help people's attention span, and then 80% of the people there are going to zone out, and they're going to like not want to. They're going to like avoid coming to that church anymore.
Yeah.
So what did I accomplish with that?
Yeah, that's another reason why not to preach too long of homilies, is kind of because you want to leave people a little bit wanting more,
Cliffhanger.
rather than leaving them being like, when is this guy going to shut up?
Yeah.
So part of that is like in the homily, introduce a call to action. Like I think I mentioned in the past Sunday's homily, going to Bible study, making a commitment, convicted effort to go to Bible study to learn more about what Jesus says when he invites people to come and see, or something like that. So yeah, don't use it as a tool for increasing people's attention spans by force, and instead do the, I think, wiser thing, which is invite people to learn more and about Jesus, to grow more intimate with him, as he does himself in the gospel. He has cliffhangers all the time.
So how do you guys go about preparing your homilies?
I got my methodology from, I think, you, Core Bishop Father Andrew. I usually read it on Monday. I just read it.
You read the gospel passage for
and
the
I
following
think
Sunday.
about it. Yeah, for the following Sunday. So I read it on Monday. I think about it for a few days. Then I get serious on Thursday, Friday, and I
like
write
which
it.
direction you're going to go in.
Yeah, I think I like the several days before. And Monday is like I think the reason why I like reading it on Monday is there's no pressure then.
Yeah.
Now I'm just reading the gospel. I'm just opening my heart, letting the Lord speak to me. I'm sort of passive, neutral. Whereas if it's, oh shoot, it's Saturday, I haven't even read the gospel. Now I'm not reading it with an open heart. I'm reading it with an agenda. You can still have a good homily sometimes under pressure, but I don't think the openness is there. The peacefulness isn't there in the same way as Monday.
Yeah.
So once in a while, like towards the end of Advent or Holy Week or something like that, you got to preach 4 or 5 days in a row. And it's already a busy time of year. So what I do when I'm on top of things is 3 weeks before Holy Week, I write all those homilies. And they're written and they're cool. Now, the day before, 2 days before, I can go and touch them up.
Yeah.
But writing under pressure, again, once in a while, they're cool, but a lot of times it's like, oh.
Yeah, you can really do the Jesus take the wheel thing all the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
yeah. Holy Spirit, inspire me. And
Well, and when Jesus says, like, do not even prepare what you're going to say, don't even think about what you're going to say, that's when you're about to be killed for your faith. It's not when you're preaching a homily.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you said you write your homilies before. So do you generally write down what you're going to say?
I have notes.
So you have written
I
notes.
probably have some with me now from last week.
Remember, you used to have the
No, I don't.
Bible readings that we used to print at the church. You used to just
He still does that.
just grab those and write notes.
So
on
he
it.
knows that. So I still will print just the gospel on a piece of paper, and I'll just like chicken scratch. I'll underline things, circle things, 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 keywords. And then maybe under each keyword, I'll put a couple of notes of just to remind myself. And then if there's like an image or a story time together, I'll put that at the top. And then
I don't think anyone would understand my notes, by the way.
Oh yeah, same.
They're very abbreviated.
It's funny.
Symbols.
Yeah.
It's funny that you guys mentioned preparation, because I literally just walk up there every Sunday and
without even reading the gospel.
and I let myself be used as an instrument of the Holy Spirit.
By the way, I don't know if you guys do this. You guys probably don't do this, but if I have a Chaldean mass and an English mass, they're most likely going to be two different
Oh
homilies.
yeah, me too.
Yeah. The
Not like
idiom.
completely different, but
The way you say
It's-
things in Chaldean
yeah.
is different. Like the idiom, the sort of brain
Yeah.
that you use. For
Yeah, I'm just so much more comfortable, obviously, preaching in English. You know, like when I preach in Chaldean, it's like I just got to get these words out. I got to say them right, get these concepts out. But in English, I'm more.
Yeah. That's
Free.
natural. You'll get. I think you'll
Yeah.
get more. It's only 10 years. You know. Another 10 years.
no, his Chaldean homilies now, by the
Today
way.
at the funeral, by the way, I forgot to tell you. That was good.
Thank
It was
you,
pretty
Bro, his
solid.
Chaldean homilies
Thank
are
God.
unbelievable. St. Michael's, man.
Yeah, man.
Remember, you used to type them out.
I used to talk
the
about it
beginning.
in English Gershuni. I used to sit
Really?
with my dad. Yeah,
Transliteration.
Razala, man.
I know,
Gar-
man.
Gershuni
Sorry.
means
I didn't even know that. I would never have
transliteration.
allowed that.
yeah.
You did it in Gershuni?
But you weren't my rector when I became a
I
priest.
didn't know that. No, I didn't know that. I would have.
Oh.
I would have put a stop to it. At least type it out in Chaldean.
My preparation is like similar to what you guys said.
So you
reading
don't
it.
really just go
No,
up
no,
there
no,
and wing
no.
it.
Having said that, though, like the homilies where I take up the least amount of notes or nothing at all, but I have thought about it and I have like a map in my mind of what I want to say. but I don't take anything physical up with me, those turn out to be the smoothest delivery. I think having too many notes in front of you is a distraction, because you start thinking there's these things I need to say to complete all my thoughts and to get the message fully across, and you get overwhelmed with that. Whereas if you have a general map in your head, if a couple of points you want to make, and you've meditated on it well enough, you've prayed about it, you'll be able to navigate it. So in my experience, that's how it's always worked out. Another thing I try to tell myself too is, back to like what the homily is for, so that I can know what to look for, know what to preach about. We're reading part of God's love letter to humanity. Let me just look for something to stress on, to emphasize about why this is so important, what Jesus is doing here, not just in that time, but today, in our hearts, in our minds. It's cool. I think it's cool to think about it that way, because you see the love letter being read, us proclaiming it, and then going to the actual wedding afterwards in the Eucharist.
I think the first part you said about, I agree with you actually in principle a lot, and I wish I could still do that, but I think maybe it's just a temporary thing, but my brain is so fried these days that I don't have the short-term memory to do that. Even if I've thought about it, I'm like, oh, I'm going to say this. I'm afraid that I'll forget when I'm up there.
Like
So I
with
need
the notes?
at least the minimal notes I need, because I just don't have the memory for it anymore.
That's what happens when you get old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an old man, dude.
I have something with me just to be safe,
Oh, okay.
always, like pretty much always, except like maybe there's a few times I haven't, but I try to stay
But
away
it is
from that as
nice
much
to
as
give
possible.
like room for the Holy Spirit
yeah.
after you've done your preparation.
I definitely don't like typing out. I think that would be really kind
Like
of
reading
crippling.
it off.
Yeah, crippling.
I
don't
can't
wanna-
do
yeah.
that.
And
Yeah.
I think people can hear
They'll
that.
get bored. Yeah.
They can hear that you're reading it, and it's like, well, just give me a copy and I'll read it later.
Yeah.
You're not really speaking to me right now.
But with the doing a Chaldean mass or the English mass, I try to keep it like as much the same as possible.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I take that. This is probably not good because I'm kind of using it maybe as a tool, maybe not. But I try to take it as like a challenge. Like, can I get the same message across just for my own development of using the Aramaic language more and more? Even though like we're native speakers, but I still want to try to do the same thing. Yeah, incarnation.
The incarnation.
Oh.
I still once in a while will have to ask the bishop, or I'll call my dad or something. I'm on the phone like, how do you say this word?
Oh,
But
okay.
it's rare now. When I was first a priest, the first couple of years, all the time. Dad, how you say this? Dad, how you say that?
Yeah.
I do that every once in a while. But I learned so when I was still in seminary, some nights when I couldn't sleep, I would look up on our SoundCloud Bishop Sarhad's old homilies, because his
his vocabulary is crazy.
His vocabulary is nuts.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what do you guys think about when people will go to mass and they're purely motivated to go just because of the preacher and just because of the homily, and they pick which mass to go to?
It's better than not
Just
going.
based on that.
I'm just glad they're going to mass.
Yeah.
But like then it's kind of like fanboy stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
I would say two things. One, for the sake of that person, that kind of encroaches into a kind of, I don't want to say idolatry because that's a really dramatic word, but like fanboyism. Start to like move towards, I want to be there for Christ, not for this preacher. On the part of the preacher, if you're noticing that, man, it's tempting to enjoy it, but don't enjoy it. Be annoyed of it and say, no, you shouldn't be here for me, be here for Christ.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think with a little bit of effort, like they can kind of move towards, because then they're like, I don't know, then it's annoying. Then they're like hopping masses based on preference. And the whole point of formation in the Holy Spirit is that you're being formed. But if you're only doing the stuff that you prefer, well, there's no formation there. You're just doing whatever you want. You're just verifying the things that you already have, rather than being open to different possibilities, including sitting through a boring homily can be good for your soul. It's a good time to pray, pull out a rosary, whatever. I don't know.
I think one of the things maybe is that, I don't know if this kind of creeps into the Catholic Church, but it's a very Protestant thing to have the main part of the service to be the homily, right? And so if the homily is bad, you're just not going to go to that church if you don't like the preacher. And so for Protestants, the emphasis is fully on the sermon, where for us, the sermon is kind of the least important part of the Mass, because the Mass is the, offering the sacrifice of Jesus. Even if you don't understand one word of it, you're still there to receive the body and blood of Jesus and to offer yourself as a sacrifice.
And if that's the sort of spirituality that's guiding them, the parable that's relevant is To what shall I compare this generation? They're like children sitting in the marketplace. While we piped to you, you did not dance. We,
Wailed.
diddled and you didn't cry. We wailed and you did not cry. Then you're just doing everything according to your preference. And if somebody's not dancing according to your tune, you leave and you go somewhere else that they're going to dance to your tune. That's what Jesus says is bad. Those are not the children of wisdom. Those are the children of the marketplace. He's saying that's a terrible attitude to have with spiritual things.
That point also goes back to what you were bringing up earlier, like people calling you not brave because you're not talking about political issues or controversial issues at the point of the homily.
Yeah.
Same words of Jesus, I think, apply to that situation too.
Another funny thing about this, the political thing, because you get this every election cycle, and it's like, have you met Chaldeans? Like most of them are probably going to vote the way you want them to vote anyway.
You're preaching to the choir.
I'm preaching to the choir. I want to say something that's beneficial to the people that are listening to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to preach and to make that like, here's why all the people you already hate deserve to be hated by you, and here's why they're wrong and dumb. How's that going to help their soul? What's going to help their soul is to be challenged. This is a really fundamental thing. It goes back to the kind of roots of oratory, of like public speaking. In the Gorgias, in Plato's dialogue, the Gorgias, there's an orator named Gorgias, and there's Socrates, and a lot of it, it's a really long dialogue, but a lot of the dialogue is about speaking the truth, and Gorgias is telling Socrates, you got to stop telling this truth stuff, man. What you got to do is flatter people, because that's how you're going to control them. That's how you're going to get what you want out of them. That's how you're going to get rich. So it's really insightful. When you hear a preacher that is just telling you what you want to hear, that's flattering you, that's attacking your enemies, but not really ever challenging you, I guarantee you that person is trying to sell you something. They're trying to get something out of you. Literally or figuratively trying to sell you something. Whereas if you hear a preacher that sounds harsh and challenging and mean, what was Jesus in his preaching? Was he flattering people? No, he was harsh. He wasn't mean, but he was speaking the truth, and that was really challenging people, and a lot of people didn't want to hear what he had to say. Who's going to do that? A true friend is going to do that. And if you end up hating me, but learning the truth, I'm willing to accept that. Whereas the other person, the last thing I want is for people to dislike me. Are you preaching the gospel? Again, the people that you're preaching to, not the people, like St. Paul says this. What do I have to do with judging outsiders?
Yeah.
Imagine a Christian preacher in the first century. Oh, these pagans are this and this and that. You're not talking to pagans. You're talking to Christians that are already judgmental of these pagans. What are St. Paul's letters about? You stupid Galatians.
Foolish, I think is the word.
No, it's stupid.
It is?
Yeah. I mean, whatever. It depends on the translation.
And people will use that as a way to like rile themselves up also.
Yeah.
And when a preacher, a priest is preaching something, and immediately maybe people will start thinking about who this applies to, and they start agreeing like, those
you're
people
committing this in judging in the middle of mass.
You're the one that is you're this dude.
Yeah.
Take it for yourself. You're there at mass to grow in humility.
There's funny memes of like, it's like just says like, my mom when the preacher is talking about children obeying their parents, and it's like a guy like,
Yeah.
find that meme, homework.
Can you be too harsh though? You think?
I'm too harsh all the time. You have to. People are more receptive in general to gentleness, but once in a while, something really needs to be said with clarity.
Just like a dad.
Yeah. Most of the time, I think gentleness is better, but sometimes you really got to say it. Sorry.
I was going to say, just like a father, paying attention to the behavior of his children. There's going to be a lot of times where he has opportunity to be fatherly, pastoral for his family. There's some opportunities where he has to put his foot down a little bit harder. And I've tried to like pay attention to that with the tone of my voice too, like physical delivery, not just like the spiritual sense of things. I think when I started, I was more loud and I did not intonate like as properly as I should. And I'm trying my best to like in an ongoing way to be a little bit softer where there's opportunities to be softer with my voice, not like with my ideology or something, but just it's like Father Andy is saying, you're more receptive to a father talking to you rather than a rhetorician or someone presenting themselves in some kind of a way that's apart from you or higher than you.
You do have to speak in love. Love sometimes is tough love, but if you don't love the people that you're preaching to, including yourself, because you should preach to yourself as well, but you should also preach to yourself in love. When you're preaching to people in love, I'm saying this because I love you. If you truly love them, they're going to receive that. If you don't really care, what you want is for them to like you, that's not really love. The more sort of saccharine, like sugary your speech is, I think the majority of people understand how fake that is. I think just even in like day-to-day conversations, I think most people know, oh, you're the best and I love you so much, and oh, I don't know what I would do. Like everybody knows that there's no such thing as friendship in LA. Because in Los Angeles, that's the way all the celebrities speak to each other like that. The second they're gone, they're gonna stab them in the back. So we know that sweet speech covers up a kind of dark heart. Whereas sincerity, frankness, spoken in actual love, is not going to be as sugary, but it's true. But it's truly loving. Yeah, maybe
Let
salt
your speech be seasoned with salt,
seasoned with
right?
salt, not sugar.
The St. Paul say that?
Yeah. So, because I know people that are like, oh, you're the best, and there's nobody like you, dude. You know that means nothing.
And you can't really fool people too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if priest thinks he could fool people by, saying nice things, or like we were talking about in the beginning, completely winging it.
Yeah.
People notice these things.
They're smarter than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're not as smart as you think.
Yeah.
One thing you were saying is if a priest is noticing that there's this culture of like fanboyism developing around him, he should not be willing to entertain that. He should be willing to like step away from that and understand that it's not the point. I think there's another direction of that conversation that also holds true. If a priest is noticing that people are really not understanding what he's saying from the homilies, or not getting anything out of the homilies, or they wish it was better quality or whatever, I think a priest should also make the effort to ask himself and reflect, like, am I convinced by the gospel? Am I loving the gospel? Am I spending time with Jesus to understand what the gospel is saying? Do I know what's so good about the good news? Am I delivering it the way I should? Am I using all my resources?
Or the thing you said about, am I able to explain it to this child? Or am I showing off the stuff I learned in the seminary? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the funny thing is, like, even when I'm teaching graduate students in theology in a university level, I don't use fancy words. Because who am I trying to fool? Fancy words are another type of sugariness, of like, this is showing off how smart I am so that you like me more. No, there's a simpler word to use. I'm going to use a simpler word. Even in a graduate course, lecture, I'm going to do that. Much less a homily. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Well, the food is here.
is it?
Yeah.
All right, bring it out.
Ya Allah. Amen.
Sushi from where?
Casanori.
The House of Nori.
Where is
Casanori, yeah. Casanori is in Chula Vista. Thank you guys for this amazing looking sushi.
Are the flowers edible?
Right?
Yes, usually they are.
You said the same thing. What's the review on the flower?
Amazing.
Not bad.
You actually eat it?
Yeah.
Ginger is
the
one of my
flower.
favorite substances
Yeah.
in the world. I love this stuff.
What about wasabi?
I like wasabi.
I love wasabi, dude.
What do we got here?
Didn't you go
You have
through a
to try this,
phase
man.
of ginger candy?
I eat ginger candy like it's
yeah.
crack. Okay.
So that's what is this one, Father Chris?
Nori?
I think it's seared toro.
Wow, look at that. With a little bit of soy sauce and wasabi. Oops. Stop, man.
So Father Chris and I are playing
No pressure.
Never fails.
a game called Ghost of Tsushima.
Very, very good game.
Father Matthew Zaytuna called me about a year ago to recommend this game.
Wow.
Because he saw that I was playing like the Zelda games and stuff like that. He's like, look, but I didn't have a system that could play it at the time. Then Andrew and Ricky got me a PS5, which ruined my life. So I got this game. It's really great. You like it more than I do, though.
I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
On what
PlayStation.
oh, PlayStation?
But it's like samurai. And you walk around as a samurai, and it's like an open map thing. It's really fun.
Are you okay, brother?
Man.
Huh?
Is it the mouth? Is it the teeth?
I forgot to bring my thing in.
Put down a plate. Yeah.
No, it's fine. Trust me.
Can we do anything to help you?
No. Yeah, you guys could continue eating.
Bro, look at this, man.
What about these?
This is nice right
Oh,
here.
rice wrap.
Oh, is that rice? Oh, there's rice, lemon, or avocado, and then a nice piece of tuna on top. Mm.
What are some other games that we could play after we beat this? Comment below. I know.
Similar games.
I know Elden Ring is like the thing that everybody was playing at some point. I don't know if I'm a good enough gamer to play that. I think you need a lot of skill for that one.
You know how shocked I was when I was in high school and you moved here from Michigan, and you did like a Q&A for the high schoolers, and you said that you play video games. I was so shocked to see a priest playing video games. Like, what?
Very scandalous.
Very scandalous.
Think you don't pray all day?
Could I get
You
some
know,
rice?
Yeah, yeah.
in this plate?
Nothing better to do.
I don't know if there's a spoon
Rice?
in your drawer or something.
Rice?
Yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
try the
Where's the
shrimp
fork right?
noodles, Father
No,
Andy?
it's,
Do you want the flour too?
No, I'll
You
take
want
it
to
without
put
the
me
flour.
some, or you want me to?
Scoop it. There's mushrooms
Sorry,
and shrimp in this. Very good food,
I'll
by the
hold
way.
it. You can
Oh,
stop.
thanks.
The sushi
man.
is very, very good.
It's an honor to help you.
Thank you, brother.
Tell me when.
Yeah, it's good sushi.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
Never been here.
You're
It's
welcome.
too far, right? But
I went to
But it's worth the
Casanori
trip.
with Father Tristan when we were still
Thank you, man.
seminarians.
Really?
Years ago.
oh wow, they've been open that long?
I remember it was very fresh.
Are the fires all gone because of the rain? Or they're still lingering?
Taqriban.
I don't know what happened to LA, man.
Yeah,
Got burnt as crisp.
Yeah, dude.
yeah, man.
Very bad.
Maybe there will be friendship now.
Between LA and
Yeah.
San Diego?
No,
Or no,
so
like
there's no
there.
friendship in LA.
There will never be friendship between LA and
I didn't mean everybody in Los Angeles. I meant mostly celebrities. Because their whole job is being fake. Their whole job is to pretend.
Yeah.
and,
That's what
Dodger,
acting is.
and Dodger fans.
I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah,
I'm going to lose friendships over that.
except for Michael Barber.
Didn't we talk about being okay with losing friendships by speaking the truth?
Of the gospel. None of the
I-
Padres.
I could make my case.
Has Michael Barber ever watched this? Because this is
Yeah.
like the 5th time that we've shouted him
No.
out.
I sent it to him and he watches it and he
Really?
rolls his eyes.
You know, he's actually the one that taught me if you're preparing for a homily and you're not spending twice as much time
Praying about it?
praying about it,
Mhm.
then
Yeah, he used to
You're
do
in
that
bad
in
shape.
his theology classes with us. He used to always tell us how he used to pray before the class, like maybe even pray a rosary before each class. And
what a saint.
great man.
Give me some ginger.
Except for the Dodgers thing.
You guys remember how he starts every class with
Yeah,
St.
Thomas
Thomas?
Aquinas.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ineffable creator.
Today is
Yeah.
the feast of St. Thomas Aquinas, actually.
No way.
Yeah, not the day that the people are going to watch,
Oh,
but
I see.
No
Just drop a
kidding,
piece of
man.
tuna.
yeah,
It's right there.
yeah.
It's right next to his
What's your
bottle.
favorite thing about?
Do not move
Thomas
the bottle,
Aquinas?
it'll fall. Oh, right there.
I don't know.
Are you serious?
It's fine. 5 seconds.
You know, a lot of people don't know that he was apparently like very overweight,
Yeah, I've
Thomas
heard
Aquinas?
that before too.
which is, yeah,
He was a big boy, huh?
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, probably he was overweight, but there's also a possibility he was just like a big dude, like just stocky. I don't
That's
know.
true. That's possible.
The joke they were teasing him. There was in
A little bit of that, bro.
oh Thomas, we're gonna cut
How am I going to give it to you?
a half circle into the table so you can reach your food.
Really?
That was the joke they were teasing him about
Thank
it.
you, man. So he was a pretty big boy,
Big boy.
and he died young, right?
42 maybe something like
Thank
that.
you, man.
Tell me when.
That's when. Thank you. Thomas Aquinas, man.
Would you like some fried chicken?
I'm not getting sushi actually.
The fried rice is good.
Was it?
It's very good. I enjoyed it too.
Oh wow.
Are you going to eat the flour too?
No, I'm just removing it from my presence.
You could have just said no.
That's
So
true.
are you gonna eat this food or like after or no?
No, we're talking. We're having a good
No,
time.
I mean no. I just want you to try it because it's very good.
I will.
Honestly.
They'll just cut away. You can take the.
My favorite thing about Thomas Aquinas, I'll tell you guys after we're done filming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe one day we're gonna have paid content.
There's no way you know.
what if I say it?
Here, now? We'll bleep it out.
Like Father Tristan's Mexican food.
Yeah, I love that bit, by the
Yeah.
way.
By the way, they bleeped out one, but then the
I
second
know,
time you
man.
said it, they
Yeah,
left
yeah.
it. As if
Whose
nobody,
fault was that, bro?
bro. As if not everybody in the world knows about. And bleep out right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and so to find out, you have to watch the whole episode from last time. But they still bleeped out the first one he said.
Yeah. As if anybody watched the last episode.
Yeah. Love you guys, man.
Love you guys.